Okay, right. Okay, so welcome to Motivation Monday. This week, very lucky to be joined by Saskia, Tidey and Tom Squires. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah. Stuck at home. Whereabouts in the world are you both at the moment?
I'm down in Portland. Yeah.
I'm in Oxford, hiding out with my parents.
So you can see the sea and can't see the sea. So we're going to basically have a chat about your journey so far, really. So what's got you to Team GB and off to the games with a little postponement off next year. But before we start, if you give us a quick intro of yourselves, that would be fantastic. So we'll start with Sass, if that's all right.
Yeah. So I sail the 49er FX with Charlotte Dobson. We started sailing together in 2017. I went to the last Olympics in Rio and represented Ireland at that games, and then was pretty lucky to be involved now in this cycle with Team GB.
Thank you very much. And Tom?
I'm Tom Squires, and I sail an RSX windsurfer, going to the Olympics for Team GB, hopefully in 2021.
So we're slightly delayed, but it's going to happen. It's going to be all right. So what we're looking at then is basically how you guys first got into it, really. So, we talked to a lot of sailors, or a lot of people think that you have to kind of get in and start at the age of 5-6 years old and sail and loppy and that stuff. I don't think that was the case for either of you. So how did you first get into it, and how did you first get into sailing? Where were you? What were you doing? How old were you? Whoever wants to go first, get stuck
in. Go on, Tom. You kick off first.
I started windsurfing when I was 11 at a local lake in Oxford, Concrete Farmall Reservoir, which was with my dad and sister, and we didn't know anything about the racing scene, and we didn't start racing or even know that you could even race a windsurfer. We were just blasting up and down and having a great time. And then when I was about 15, I heard about the Zone Squad. One of the guys from the lake said he just made it into a Zone Squad. So I was like, oh, cool, what's that? And then we started racing. I tried to get in Zone Squad, and I got a discretionary place in Zone Squad at 15. And I wasn't allowed in. Well, I didn't make it into the junior squad because I was too old. So then I transitioned onto the RSX as the tall chap I was, and then migrated through the national youth transitional squad at the time, and then national youth squad. I think that's what it was. And then just hop, skipped, and jumped around there. I was never the best or favourite to in that group. I was just loving windsurfing, and that's what drove me through my younger years. Yeah.
So when was your first international race then, doing that?
First flight I ever went on was to go to Poland. Never flown anywhere before. So in Poland in 2010 for the RSX European Championships, where there's a bronze fleet. I think I just about scraped into the silver fleet.
That's cool. So no junior internationals at all. It was straight into you.
I went to the Techno Worlds in 2008 actually, but that was in Weymouth, so it kind of got me a head start, and I absolutely hated it. I had a shocker. I had no idea about being competitive, or I just used to go windsurfing with my mates, and then trying to all this pressure on doing well at events, and didn't enjoy it very much really. It's a lot of pressure, and where you're supposed to finish and where you think you are, and then everyone just whooped me. Sam Sills was world champion that year, so I was nowhere near that. I think I just about scraped into the gold fleet there on the Techno, but I was pretty much sinking the Techno at 15. So
pretty big for it. So in like
6'3" or something.
And Sass, so how did you get into sailing? Where did you start?
Well, neither of my parents are sailors. I've just always kind of been a bit obsessed with the Olympics. My dream was always to go and win a medal in a sport, and it was the 2008 cycle, Beijing, that I really kind of took a fancy to sailing. I went to motivational talk in our local yacht club because I had done a bit of junior sailing there, but like Tom, I was a bit overwhelmed by the competitive side of sailing. But I went to a motivational chat there with our Finn class representative at the time for Ireland, and I was in awe of how cool the sport was, and yeah, I actually just took it up after that, learning how to race. And he, Tim Goodbody, he actually at the time, alongside his last few months into the games, he coached me and basically taught me how to laser sail and how to race. And yeah, if it wasn't for him, really, I wouldn't have gotten into the competitive scene. So my first goal was to represent Ireland at the ISAF Youth Worlds. So that was actually my first international event. Once I'd won the trials for that in Ireland, and that was in Brazil in 2009. And I got asked in an interview there, like, could I see myself going into the Olympic circuit? And naively, I was like, yeah, that sounds like the next step. Not thinking, what was ahead. But yeah, without my parents believing in me, having this mad dream at the time that this is what I'd end up doing as a career, I wouldn't be here. So yeah, it all started in really 2008, 2009 for me.
So you can imagine there. Did you want to go? Did you know you wanted to go to the Olympics before you wanted to go sailing Olympics, so to speak?
Yeah.
So before you said, were there any other sports you're into before you were sailing, or what else were you doing?
I just love. I basically started competitive sport in netball. I played for Ireland as a youth until I was 19. Which isn't an Olympic sport, and it was put up for a vote there 2 years ago to be put into the next games, and it fell through. But it's such an amazing sport. I would have loved to do that, but it wasn't an option. But I suppose sailing was my route to the games. Like I didn't have any other ideas of what other sport I could have done, but yeah, sailing was my in.
That's cool. And what about you, Tom? Because you're windsurfing, having a great time, start to come to this squad system. When did you start thinking, I want to go to the Olympics, or had that always been something ticking along the background?
Probably about 3 or 4 years ago. For me, I was never number one. I was always part of the squad system when I was coming out of school. And to me, windsurfing was just about being part of the squad system was just about windsurfing as much as I could. My parents drove me all around the country just to race and to learn better, to get better at windsurfing. I didn't really think I had a shot. Like I said before, Sam was already world champion, the first international regatta I ever done, and Ali Masters and a few other older guys were already racing at the top level. Ali Masters was world and European champion, and I was just learning how to jibe. So it took a long time to get here, and it wasn't until this trials process where I was even in for a shot with it, to be honest. Nick Dempsey as well, being so dominant for so many years, he said he might retire after London, but then he did another cycle, and the experience gaining with him being a training partner, and Kieran Martin coming up through as a younger than me, a couple of years younger. He was outperforming me until the trials process, really, last year. So for me, it was never really about going to the games. It was just seeing how far I could go with windsurfing and learning things. And but the Olympic dream does spike something in you. You're like, oh, maybe it's there. The goal's there. Like, what's the next step? And you go through the squad process. Like, oh, all right, yeah. I'm now here with. I was with Connor and Sam in the youth program, and I was like, bloody hell, those guys are good. How can I get there? And copying them, and then trying to learn things myself, and just doing and windsurfing more and more, and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, God, I've got to get my act together. I could do this.
Yeah.
And then you find a little bit of drive in yourself to do more, to get better at windsurfing, and then you're like, less drive could go towards something even better. And then being a training partner for Nick was like, wow, God, that's an epic thing to be part of, being a training partner, seeing and traveling the world and what windsurfing's given me. And then you're like, wow, next step is the games, I guess. Give it a go. Why not?
What I really like about Tom's story is like how much Tom just loves windsurfing, because we've known each other for quite a few years just through the circuit and being on like the same competitive journey, but like Tom froths over windsurfing. He absolutely loves it, which is quite cool to see. How people like interact with their sport. I definitely don't spend as much time in the water as Tom does.
My hair's gone all horrible because I haven't been in the salt water for very long. It's like fluffball.
Got to
What
start
we're doing here.
Nightmare. No, salt water.
I genuinely do have to wash it more.
It's a challenge not being
especially
in the biggest issue
here with my parents as well. They keep making me wash.
Apparently going in the sea doesn't count as washing. I've been told by several people over a few years.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, just ignore.
How are your hands, Tom?
Peeling, and my feet are peeling.
Yes, do you have a quick look at the
Sam earlier. They're peeling. That's what happens when you're not on the sandpaper of a board. 20 days
afterwards, you're going to be like four layers of skin thinner. Yeah,
might get manicure.
Getting away. Of course, you both got like quite different things. I suppose like Sass, you were like, right, I want to go to the games, and then sailing was the vehicle. And Tom, you was like, I just want to froth as much windsurfing as possible. I'm like, I'm still here. Let's just keep going. And when you first came into like the competitive side of it, I can imagine like there was probably a bit of that was a bit like daunting in a sense, because there's probably quite a lot of people, like Tom, you've already said it, that have been doing it like a long time, that have been competing at it a long time. I think Sass, like your first international competition was a pretty punchy one to go to. So how did you guys make that jump from like being kind of outside that pathway, if you like, to suddenly being like, right, I'm getting stuck in and I'm going to survive this? Like, how did you make that big jump to start with?
I don't know. I mean, even now, I think, God, I must have been pretty brave at whatever age to think that, you know, I could do this. And I suppose you always come across those people in life who tell you can't as well. And that, for me personally, is a massive drive in most things I do. When someone tells me I can't do something, or like it seems unrealistic, I think for me that actually motivates me more. And I think that's contributed like a lot towards where I've ended up. So I don't know. It's almost a blur. It's so long ago. It's hard to. I don't know whether it's the same for you, Tom, but it's almost hard to piece together how you managed to kind of get to where you are now. It feels like such a blur.
Yeah, it really does. It does. I think from what you said earlier about me enjoying windsurfing so much, and your dream to go to the Olympics was that we're both prepared to do things to help us do it more and to reach goals, whether that be windsurfing more or my step towards the Olympic dream for you. It's like our drives are different. We're different at the time, but the outcome was the same. You sailed more. You sailed as much as you could. You did. You made sacrifices in other parts of your life to sail more, like I did with windsurfing.
Yeah, I think like what, you know, it's amazing now being part of the GB team and surrounded by such legends. I mean, I remember watching videos of Sass Clark and Hannah Mills on YouTube of their daily routine, you know, with their campaign. And I remember looking at that going, that's exactly what I want to do. And they're so like such inspirational women. Like, you know, standing on a stage with Hannah Mills at the British Dinghy Show, for example, like that's a surreal experience. And it's I certainly have tried to help accelerate my learning. I've definitely tried to surround myself with people who have done this sport for a very long time, and experience in sailing is just priceless. And you know, I definitely have a lot of years missing in comparison to my teammates, but we're so lucky that we are really surrounded by such a good team that everyone's there to help. And I think the sailing world it's a very open sport that way. I think most people are willing to help and you know, fill in the gaps that you've missed, as long as you're you're willing to learn and you're open-minded and you can ask questions. I think that's how I've sort of fast-tracked it a bit. Like I sail with Charlotte Dobson, and you know, I couldn't be prouder to sail with Charlotte. You know, I grew up when I was learning how to sail the laser, watching Charlotte perform, you know, top in the world, and to be sailing with her and you know, sharing this journey to Tokyo with her is a pretty surreal experience. And yeah, I've learned a lot from her and the rest of the team.
I think that experience allows you to go gun-ho into stuff, because you find a bit of confidence and a bit of clarity in what you need to do to get somewhere. And you're like, yeah, actually, I can see why how that person jumped from here to there, and same with me. I'm like, oh, I could go there. I was leaving college, trying to study horticulture and gardening, got a job in apprenticeship in gardening, and then talking to the sailors as I was trying to continue with my youth sailing RSX stuff, was like, God, if I save up enough money, I could be one of them guys that lives down in Weymouth and just windsurf every day. And that's, you kind of get that from a sport in sailing and windsurfing where everything's so open. You can windsurf or sail with a 50-year-old, a 15-year-old. You can sail with anyone you want, and or windsurf around these people and sit on the beach, and you just learn and share experiences. It's so transparent, I feel.
So actually, rather than you're coming in with a lack of experience, what you're doing instead is, I'm just going to use everybody else's. Like,
yeah.
So actually, they've done some stuff. I like what they did there. I'm going to do that. I can see what they're doing there. I'm going to do that. So you're not hemmed in by, like, I'm on this track and that's what I'm doing. I'm just going to use everything around me to get as good as I can and just take advantage of all of it, really.
Yeah. It's much. I think it's much harder.
Right, isn't it?
Yeah. So a pretty good idea to me. Like, if you can use everybody's experience rather than just your own, that's a lot more experience, isn't it?
Yeah. I suppose it's knowing though what you can bring to a campaign as well. You know, like, yes, I lacked in maybe racing experience, but I've always enjoyed the physical side of sailing, and crewing in a FX or a 49er for me was just the perfect role. And also being quite tall as well put me, you know, in a good position for myself and Charlotte to have, you know, a super strength. Like, we're both tall girls. So, you know, I certainly knew that my attributes to a sailing campaign would, like, I'm a really open-minded person. Like, I'm willing to try anything, and I just love the physical side of crewing. And I enjoy teamwork and team sports. So for me, I knew I could fulfill that for someone else. So I think it was interesting actually talking to quite a lot of youth sailors at the dinghy show. You know, I think it's so exciting to see how many young British sailors are looking to pursue campaigns in the future and would like to do what we do. And I met so many helms who actually, you know, suggesting the idea of, well, maybe you should give crewing a try, you know, and some of them really hadn't even thought about it. But I think, especially in a skiff, like, it's a 50-50 job split, and really without each other, you know, you'll never be the best. And I think it's something which is it's cool, the 49er, for that, because you can go from being a helm to a crew, and you can have that mix of people. So I just felt, leaving the dinghy show, that it was nice to talk to some youth sailors and maybe open up their minds to trying different classes and trying roles that maybe they hadn't thought of before, and not getting too narrow-minded on where they see themselves ending up.
Yes, so say opens opportunity, or like the path might totally take the straight line. And you mentioned some of the physical aspects there, and doing as much as you could, and like with Tom as well, like outside, like as you came into those squads, outside your kind of squad training, like how much other stuff are you doing, whether that be on the water or not on the water? Like, when you're not getting coached, how many hours do you reckon you were putting in a week, or how much other stuff you were doing that you think was helping you get better?
I think for me, the ROA quite structured in the squad systems, and you get like a little bit of fitness to do from them. But when I was because I kind of missed that when I was younger, I never had any training plans or any fitness goals as such. And I didn't really consider myself a very sporty person because I wasn't into football so much, or I wasn't into rugby. But I could certainly run 800 meters pretty quick, and I didn't really think about running or being active or windsurfing or riding my bike with my dad or activities as being sporty. So like now I'm riding my bike just probably like I did riding around the woods when I was younger. That's exactly the same now, and it's all part of it. You might not think you're fit, and then all of a sudden you go, oh, I'll try that. And so it's not about, sometimes it's not about ticking the boxes in terms of, it depends who you are. What I'm trying to say is if you're the sort of person that considers himself sporty, wants to keep fit doing football, then that's fine. Or if you want to keep fit doing running or really structured or not structured, I think being active and just, especially in times like this, just getting out there, doing your thing, whatever you fancy doing outside, and keeping fit and rolling around and doing fun things.
I've actually really noticed, like, since we've been isolated, how important for me just being active during the day is just, it just settles my mind. Like, it makes me just feel calm. Which I think it's
part of curse of being an athlete, actually. When you sit down, I get right grumpy. It's like, no, I'm angry. I just need to do something. Sorry, interrupting there.
Like rather than giving a Snickers, it's just like go run around the garden for a bit, or
literally
do some sort of activity. Okay, cool. So actually, in general, your main thing is just doing loads of stuff, like just being active. Like that's how you're staying fit and that kind of thing. And spending time doing stuff you enjoy. Really, does that help like maintain motivation as well? Do you think?
Yeah, you gotta enjoy what you do.
Yeah, you do. I would spend a lot more time. Well, I try to spend a lot more time in the gym, especially having now, like, I'm getting older. I definitely feel the need to. I know. Well, I'm not spring chicken anymore. I definitely just feel the need, but with the 49er, the like injuries can cause havoc to a year schedule. So I actually broke my foot during the trials twice, and I think the underlying fitness side of what we do, you don't really appreciate it until you end up in that position. And I actually came out of that injury this season probably stronger and fitter than ever. But definitely couldn't have done that without all the background fitness that I'd done before. So yeah, I think that's a massive part in what we do, and probably don't appreciate it enough until we really need it.
True that. I see you in the gym a lot, and you can see the benefits that it has for you. And for me, I'm the sort of person that doesn't enjoy being in the gym and doing strength so much, but I still need to look after myself, and I still had hurt my back when I was younger as well. And you got to tickle up them things. You got to do what you need to do what you got to do. But because I don't enjoy it, I'm like, right, how can I do that outside or by windsurfing more? But like you do have to look after yourself. Injuries sucks.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got a bit of a challenge coming up in a minute, like, which I hope you're both ready for, and then we've got a few questions from outside that. Before we go into the challenge, though, I suppose you can say quite a lot of things about what your motivation was, what drove you to do it, staying open-minded. Yeah. Any thoughts on, you've had some amazing success, going to the games, in Team GB. Any thoughts on what you think your top attributes were that got you here, that kind of got you through this process?
I think for me, like, being open-minded is so important. One thing that my housemate Ailey McIntyre always says is, you can never stop learning, and the moment you think you've learned everything, about something, you're screwed. So, never stop learning, always ask questions, and I think never doubt how much you can achieve from yourself, and just never listen to anyone who says you can't do anything, you can't do something. Use that as the motive to do it. That's what I think's got me to where I am now.
Keeps that just like hunger for learning all the time, progressing.
Yeah, not being afraid of learning.
Yeah. Tom, what do you reckon?
Yeah, same really. Being open-minded. I was a bit of a yes man when I was younger, and would just agree to everything and anything that helped me to windsurf or to get fitter to windsurf more, or to get to the games. And they kept me open-minded by being like, yeah, I could do that, I can do that, I can see why that'll help. Also, I'm a bit of a doer and just get out there and just do a lot, do more, whether that be in fitness or I'm not really that competitive against other people, but I'm quite competitive in myself, being like, I hate regressing with stuff, so I like keep pushing forwards. And
yeah, I can relate to that,
because I go out on my bike now, and I've been doing the circuit for all until we got locked down. So my cycling's got worse, and I'm like, right, I'm going to cycle until I get better than where I was before. And it's the same with windsurfing. There's certain techniques and things that don't catch on with me, like in the planing, the breezy stuff like comes so easily. I don't have to keep checking in with that. But in the light stuff, I regress, and I'm like, and just I hate that so much. And I think that keeps pushing me forwards, being driven in myself.
Just making you better. I suppose what you both say now is, rather than just trying to be a bit better than someone else, you're both just trying to be better all the time. Like just
with myself. Yeah.
Well, that's the controllable, isn't it? Like you can control your progression, and you can't control everyone else. So I definitely think having started later in competitive sailing, just come back to being open-minded is jumping in and out of different boats and different classes, and I think that's really important for youth sailors coming up through the system, because until you're older, you don't know physically how you develop anyway. So it doesn't mean to say, coming out of an optimist, that you won't be big enough and strong enough to be in a 49er, or tall enough to crew a 470. And I did a lot of that. I definitely, for about a year and a half, jumped in and out of different boats just to figure out what suited me best. And then when the FX came into the Rio cycle, it was a new class and an opportunity to kind of start fresh with most of the fleet. That's
again, it's just looking at not setting your path too early and just seeing what those are. Right, you ready for a challenge?
Right, yeah.
Hit me up.
So hopefully, you've either got a piece of cucumber, okay, or you've got a bit of carrot. I think we went carrot in the end, didn't we? Okay. So what we're looking to do is you're going to place it on your forehead. Okay, and this is about facial dexterity. Okay, we're going to go for a time here. We're going to do a race off against each other.
All right.
Okay, and you got, without using anything, into your mouth. So ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. Trouble is, I got such bushy eyebrows.
You got
past the bush.
I did so well in the practice round.
It's a problem in it. Training range.
It's gone.
Oh no, Tom's on the floor. You got to reset. So you're in the lead at the moment. Sass.
Thank you for beating me.
Got it. Sass takes the win.
It's not even off my forehead. I had a dodgy bit of cucumber.
That's it. You got to do some testing on your cucumber slices, I think. Maybe carrot. Maybe carrot was the key. Maybe that was the trick.
It's a bit hairy now.
Sass takes the win then.
Top point
on that one. Okay, in victory. Okay, so we've got a few questions from the public that sent in. Very quick fire ones, easy one to start with. Sass, what was your first boat? First boat you had?
My first boat was a Laser 4.7.
What was your first board, Tom?
The first one that I got myself, I wasn't sharing with my dad, was a F2 Power Glide, 142 litres or something.
Yeah, it's 147, I think it was.
147. It was. You're right. You know your stuff.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Like random 90s and 2000 windsurfing equipment is my weird speciality. Okay, so both of you then, what thoughts on the games being postponed?
Yeah, well, initially it was pretty hard to take. You sort of set yourself up for when you feel prepared to execute, and that timeline's been dragged out another year. But it's the right thing to do. We have to fix the world and lead by example. So yeah, we've another whole year of trying to get better. So there's loads of positives to take from it too. So yeah.
Cool. Tom?
I was bloody happy it wasn't cancelled.
Yeah.
I thought they had to be on or cancel it. So I was like fretting a little. I was trying to stay calm and keep busy. So I didn't have to think about it. Windsurfing lots. and then the delay was actually pretty good news if you relatively compared to it being cancelled. There's a lot of organising, a lot of planning to do, but if I went to the games this summer, I really do feel like I felt like I was leading up to it well. I was in a good place, but if I'm honest, I could have had an absolute shocker and it wouldn't have been no surprise. So more time for me is probably a good thing. It's not very good in terms of logistics and planning, but maybe I'll be able to help the future of windsurfing in the UK by actually getting a medal, being more consistent, more able to medal.
That sounds good. Okay. Right. If you weren't sailors, what would you be?
I know exactly what I'd be.
I'll
be gardener. I'd be out there right now. I would. I'll be in the sticks. Love that.
I probably would have been another sports person.
Yeah. So it's, again, still trying to go to the games, just something else.
Just doing something else. Don't know what, but.
Well, I still think curling's my only chance. I think that's my only one.
I'll be laying the stripes down on the grass, freshly cut smell of grass. Oh, do better than that.
Okay. And here you go. This is a question that came in between the two of you. Who would win an arm wrestle?
Oh,
Saskia probably. Look at my arm. I see her in the
Tom's
gym.
surprisingly strong.
I see her in the gym all the time. There's no chance I'll beat Sas.
Okay, and my very last one. It's probably quite hard to define this. Like, what inspired you to be a Team GB athlete?
Oh, I mean, the team itself. It's just such an honor to be part of this team, and I think that was another thing when we got told about the games being delayed. I was really looking forward to being part of the bigger team as well, like not just sailing, and kind of absorbing the energy from the rest of Team GB. So that's something to really look forward to next year. It's fun to see other sports and meet other sports people, and not just see them on TV, to actually be with them. I think that'll be really, really fun.
Yeah, the whole the big, I suppose the bigger team, isn't it? Is
yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, Tom.
Can you just repeat the question?
Of course, can. You're very focused on that cucumber challenge, though, aren't you? So what inspired you to be a Team GB athlete?
That's it. I think when I was younger and as a teenager, I had lots of I was pretty lost in terms of how I needed to be, how I needed to act, and how I needed to be to perform or to do well or to make it or to be I don't know. You look up to people and you're like, how did he get there, and how did you have to act like that? And I think for me, it's kind of showing you can be anyone, you can be yourself, and you can make it. It doesn't matter whether you like fitness, don't like fitness, love sailing or windsurfing, you want to go out every day or don't. You just enjoy the results. Then whoever you are, you can do it. I mean, I'm a bit of a mess, and my logistics and planning and everything other than windsurfing is pretty shocking. So I've had to learn how to make that better so I can perform. And hopefully it's like Saskia says, seeing all the different athletes shows all the different types of people in the Olympics and in sport. Everyone's different, and anyone can make it.
Cracking.
Even shredders.
Even shredders. Brilliant. Thank you very much, both of you, for your time. I hope you got any just last top tips for quarantine?
Stay active.
Yeah, lots of Zoom calls. Yeah, stay active. Do your gardening.
You got to make challenges for yourself. There's a lot of silly ones going around, and I want to see some more silly and less silly ones, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
I need some gardening tips, Tom. My garden's a mess.
Oh, you need to sort it out.
Gardening tips with Tom. I feel that could be a new thing on Instagram. Do you think your hair's going to survive quarantine, Tom?
Should I shave it off?
Yeah, do it.
A charity.
I'm trying to go for the hobo challenge. Even more of a mess than I am already. Just pick out my patchy beard. It's slightly ginger, but you can't tell anyone that. It's brown. What about you, Sam? You're going to grow a beard?
I've been growing this since last year, so yeah, it's not going great, in all honesty. Yeah, so be pretty patchy. I think the mullet's going to come back in the next few weeks. So.
Yeah.
Right. Thanks very much for your time. I've just got a few thank you to say. We had questions from David. I think M Law. Not sure what the first name was there. Tom, Susan Gallagher, Hannah Cockle, quite a few others as well. So big thank you to them. Big thank you to both of you as well. Enjoy the rest of your days.
Thank you.
Hopefully see you on the water soon.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Cheers. Thank you.
Go on.